Now that her secret was out, Rory gathered her courage and finally turned on the computer to show Sett her work. Despite her initial shyness, as soon as she started talking about her projects, the embarrassment vanished, replaced by overwhelming energy. Rory explained in detail the genesis of every single animation and the meticulous care behind every 3D model she had created for him. She spoke with such visceral passion that her large, starry eyes literally began to shine with intense light. Sett remained silent, watching her in a fascination. For the first time, he was seeing Rory in the full flow of her art, and that fire burning inside her deeply captivated him. But looking straight into her eyes, the boss clearly read something that went far beyond simple fan admiration. He understood with absolute certainty that Rory loved him deeply. Gently interrupting her speech, Sett leaned toward her and asked directly, without beating around the bush, how long she had loved him. At that question, Rory was completely speechless. Blood rushed to her face, turning her bright red, and the only thing she managed to whisper was that she didn't know how to express it out loud. Sett, eager to hear those words, insisted with gentle firmness. But Rory, with her heart pounding wildly in her chest and emotion tightening her throat, felt overwhelmed. No longer able to speak from the intense agitation, she apologized in a faint voice and, overcome by embarrassment, suddenly asked him to leave her alone. Instead of leaving or insisting, Sett did the exact opposite. He approached Rory and, with unexpected gentleness, pulled her into a strong, warm embrace. The boss clearly sensed how difficult it was for her to express her feelings, and above all, understood how incredibly similar they were. Both were alone, both carried the scars of a painful past, and both had found in each other a safe harbor. While holding her close, listening to the rapid beating of her heart, Sett whispered words he had never said to anyone else. He confessed that all this time, thanks to her presence, he had felt incredibly good. He told her that being with her made him feel truly human and not the ruthless monster of the arena that everyone else portrayed and feared. With a rare softness in his voice, Sett revealed that he cared about her deeply and admitted that in all likelihood, he loved her profoundly. However, the boss understood that Rory's traumatic past was still an open wound and that she wasn't fully ready to take that step. So, without demanding anything in return and respecting her timing, Sett hugged her one last time, gave her a tender kiss on the head between her cat ears, and calmly left the house to give her space and let her catch her breath. Rory was left alone, but in her heart she knew that the boss would never abandon her. After Sett left the house, Rory remained alone, torn between purest happiness and total shock. Sett loved her. He had understood every nuance of her soul and desired her as much as she desired him. Overwhelmed by that wave of emotions, Rory couldn't sleep. She immediately sat at her computer and worked all night on a secret project. The next day, she didn't show up at the arena training. Sett was very sorry not to see her in the stands, even though his boss pride prevented him from showing it to his men. Meanwhile, Rory had made an agreement with Smirk, Sett's trusted right-hand man. Using his help, she managed to secretly access the boss's private office and left a case containing a mysterious CD on his desk, instructing Smirk to say the gift came from her. A few hours later, after finishing his intense training, Sett finally returned to his office. There he found Smirk guarding the room. The accountant pointed to the desk, explained that Rory had personally come to leave him that gift, and then left the boss alone. Sett approached the desk and picked up the case. On the front of the disc was a title written in the handwriting he now knew so well. "I'm your #1 fan." Curious, he inserted the CD into an elegant Hextech gramophone in the corner of the room. As soon as the needle touched the disc, the room filled with the notes of a captivating melody, accompanied by Rory's sweet and melodious voice. Through that song, the girl sang her entire life, her devotion, and all the deep love she felt for him, expressing in music what emotion had prevented her from saying out loud. Sett stood motionless in the center of the office, listening to every single word in complete silence, deeply moved by that pure manifestation of love. As Rory's voice echoed in the silence of the office, Sett felt a strange sensation in his chest, something he had never experienced before. He, who was used to the deafening noise of the pits and the screams of the bloodthirsty crowd, found himself defenseless before such a sweet melody. At first, pride flared up. He crossed his arms and leaned against the edge of the desk, trying to maintain his usual impassive boss posture, while a slight blush colored his cheeks. But the more he listened to Rory's words, the more his armor crumbled. Hearing the girl sing with such passion about her unconditional love brought a completely new smile to Sett's face. A sincere, complicit, and incredibly softened smile. He ran a hand through his wild hair, letting out a light sigh. In that song, there was no fear that all his subordinates felt toward him, nor the greed of the betters. There was only Rory accepting him for who he was. Sett realized how lucky he was to have such a pure person by his side. The music ended, leaving the room wrapped in silence once again. But the boss had changed. He picked up the CD case, turned it over in his hands with almost obsessive care, and placed it in the safest drawer of his desk, next to the first note she had ever left him. Now he knew exactly what to do. It was time to show his #1 fan that the boss never kept his promises halfway. The first shadows of evening began to fall over Ionia, painting the sky in a spectacular fiery red. Sett left the fighting pits with a single goal in mind: to find Rory, and he found her right there, just outside the arena, waiting for the match to end. The cat girl was trying her best to look composed and casual, but the trembling of her ears and the nervous flicking of her tail betrayed an uncontrollable excitement. With her heart racing, Rory looked up at him and asked in a soft voice if he had listened to her song. Sett didn't answer right away. He gave her one of his usual bold, knowing smirks, nodded decisively, and walked toward her with long strides. Before she could step back, the boss caught her by surprise. He gently but firmly pushed her against the outer wall of the arena, towering over her with his massive build and pinning her with his arms. Rory instantly turned bright red, her heart pounding wildly in her chest. She began to tremble with emotion, and an adorable yet clearly annoyed smile appeared on her face as she realized just how much that stubborn boss had loved her song. Looking straight into his large golden eyes, Rory set aside her pride and asked the question that had been tormenting her the most. "Sett, do you accept me for who I really am?" At those words, Sett put on an almost scolding expression, gave her a light tap on the cheek, and replied with his usual irony, "What a silly little kitten you are. Of course I accept you just the way you are. That's the most obvious thing in the world." Hearing those words lifted every burden from Rory's heart. Overwhelmed by immense happiness, she burst into tears of joy. Sett was momentarily surprised and chuckled to himself. He hadn't expected such an intense and emotional reaction. Touched by her purity, the boss immediately acted to calm her. He pulled her into a tight embrace and began to comfort her with infinite tenderness, stroking her head and wiping away her tears. When Rory leaned toward him, the two finally shared a passionate, overwhelming kiss that had been long awaited. When they parted, Sett looked down at her, winked, and whispered in a playful yet affectionate tone, "Even if you can be pretty annoying sometimes, I want you with me from now on, got it?" With that ironic yet profound promise, the boss and his #1 fan officially marked the beginning of their relationship, ready to face every challenge together, both inside and outside the arena.